Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm T, and I'm very honored to be here with you guys today. Before it starts, I have a very small question for everyone in this room. Are there anyone here still living with your parents? I see there's a lot. So now, let's think of the number of hours that you would spend with your parents in a day. You can keep it to yourself. Let me tell you a small secret. I was born into a very special family. My parents would spend 24 hours a day with their children, which means that their advice has a very big influence on my life. So all the movies, all the films that feature about families can easily resonate with me. I still remember that last time, around this year, I was watching a movie. And it was about a girl that was treated like a princess in her house. Her name is Nee, and she has a very loving mother. Her mother never lets her lift a finger to do household chores or any hard work. She does everything for Nee. She cleans Nee's room, wakes Nee up in the morning, and chooses Nee's clothes to school. What an amazing mother, right? But in return, Nee's also a very obedient girl. She even sacrifices her own interest in arts to go to finance university and satisfy mom. But when you are untruthful to yourself, it's just like walking on thin ice. Problems will arise. And it did. When mom found out Nee's secret love with a boyfriend, she put scorn on Nee for her unplanned pregnancy. And for Nee, with all the negative feelings that she has suppressed for such a long time, she decided to talk back at her mother. She left home and moved out with a boyfriend. But like most couples, when the savings runs out, the romantic relationship also dies. He had no choice but to come back home in shame, and even worse, she got miscarriage right at the doorstep to her house. After I watched this movie, I have a question. If Nee had followed her mom's advice in the first place, would there be a happier ending for a love story? There'd be no fighting, no regrets, and maybe no miscarriage after all. Her mom seems to have anticipated all those consequences. Not just her mom, but our parents seem to know everything because they have been through so much in their life. A tangible proof is that I myself, when I was still 8 or 9 years old, I have achieved a lot of prizes in all sorts of competitions. My life was peaceful with people's praises and compliments, and all those amazing things happened because of mom's orientation. But I now know that I was too naive to believe that my life will be fine as long as I have my parents right by my side. I have not expected a day when I have to be on my own and make my own decision. Not until my parents, they have made it so loud and clear to me on my 17th birthday that, T, when you're 18, you're responsible for your life now. Food and drink, you buy. Tuition fee, you pay of course. And medicine, when you're ill, you have to take care of yourself. There's a but here, that your dad and I will give you all the right to make your own decision. To you, it may sound too heavy responsibilities for a child, but to me, a 17-year-old girl at the time, responsibilities was equal to freedom. And like a bird, just locked up in a cage for so long, I yearn for freedom and adventure. Something that I also want to see in my dream university. But you know, as a typical Asian mom with a daughter to take care of, they would rather settle for stability and safety than venturing into the unknown. No wonder why she suggested me to apply for University of Languages and International Studies and drawing out this whole scenario of becoming a teacher and with a stable job and a decent life. With such a different mindset, I opposed to that idea completely every time Mom mentioned it to me, even fiercely. I had a firm belief that Mom was just being one-sided and opinionated. She just wanted to satisfy her own wish, because going to ULIS has been her dream. Becoming a teacher has been her footpath. By passing it down to me, it's just unfair. So failing to settle for agreement, I started seeking advice from others, from my friends, my brothers, my sisters, and to my surprise, they are so supportive of my ideal. They just encourage me to go for what I think is right. And at that time, Hanoi University of Science and Technology was what come up in my head. I was proud and arrogant. I thought Mom was just trying to get into my way, and the people that I have just met, those outsiders, they're truly like-minded people with modern thoughts, and they deserve my attention. That is the reason why I decided to ignore my mom's advice at that moment and follow for the outsiders' advice. To be honest, I didn't even know what will happen to me if I apply for the University of Science and Technology. But I have a fixed mindset that ULIS is my mom's dream. I go to ULIS means I become successful in mom's dream. And if I become successful in mom's dream, I can never achieve genuine happiness. But the application day was approaching, and our arguments started to get more intense. You can see that on this picture, my mom and I were sitting in the same place. We are living in the same rooftop, but there just seemed no emotional connection between a mom and a daughter, isn't it? I was sad. I didn't know what to do. I have an emotional problem. I just do not know how to balance out between mom's opinions and my own happiness. In that midst of confusion, I decided to step one step back, give myself some space and time to reflect on what I've been through. I even envisioned myself in the future after graduating the two universities. So we have ULIS on one side and becoming a teacher. That's not new, right? I've been doing this job for 3 years and I did earn some money from it. So what about the University of Science and Technology? I could earn big money. The job is novel as a cybersecurity worker. And that is exactly what I'm looking for, like at the beginning. But looking back, there's one problem, very big problem. Is that I'm a technophobe. I know nothing about technology. I'm not good at it. So what company would even hire me to do the job? I could be jobless. I was scared. So I realized that there's something wrong with my hunch at the beginning. I decided to go for ULIS in the end. And here's the picture of me at the opening ceremony of university. And guess what? I was smiling, and until now, I still have that big smile on my face. I have to thank myself so much for giving up on all the baseless reasonings I had in the past and chose ULIS. And if you ask me, what is the biggest takeaway that I have for everyone after this experience? I would say, when you are confronting a milestone in your life, it's best if you consult your parents' advice for it. I admit that my parents, like most parents, they can be domineering, conservative, and outdated sometimes. it makes you feel annoyed. But if you just look beyond the surface of it, you will realize that it's because their overprotectiveness have covered their wisdom and unconditional love for us. Just look at what you have been through, and you will get what I mean. So, when you get hurt, even a very minor injury, who is the first person to be so worried sick about you? Another question. When you get emotional damage, who is the most patient one that is willing to pay an attentive ear to all of our stories, though it may sound very boring? Our parents do. By saying so, I mean, whenever our parents make any decision, they will always hope to act in our best interest. They hope that they can create an optimal condition for all of you here to grow and thrive and achieve more than they could ever possibly do in your life. So, why don't we, as their children, try listening to their advice once with empathy, exactly the same way that we have done to all of our stories? I believe that once you open your hearts and your mind, you will realize that your parents' advice can sometimes act as an enlightenment and lead you to a place where you can barely even imagine. In my case, I chose ULIS out of parents' orientation. I chose teaching out of parents' orientation. And luckily for me, I got it right. Teaching was a perfect fit for me. But never glamorize the picture. I told you that I've been doing this job 3 years ago, right? I used to be so stressed out and question myself so much and cried a lot as well. The profession itself didn't change. My parents' orientation didn't change. What changed here is the course of action that I take that leads to a change in my attitude. Since I go to university, and ever since the university admission day, I have been actively hunted for opportunities. Besides working hard at the assignments, I also try to roll my sleeve up and gain more practical experience. Like recently, I got interviewed for a volunteer program to teach children in the mountainous area. And all the thank you messages that I received after each lesson just made me realize that there are some values that are worth even more than money. That I could bring value to others via this job, and that I was cut out to be a teacher. But I was also known someone, a woman in her 30s, who also listened to her parents' advice, but things just didn't turn out so well for her. She's a realtor now, but barely do I know that she was also used to be a policeman 7 years straight. Her parents' rationale was the same. They also prioritized career stability. I was committed. I was surprised at her commitment to her job. So I just came next to her and asked her, okay, so are you regrettable at the decision that you make for following your parents' advice? And guess what? To my surprise, she just shrugged her shoulder and smiled. She told me, I chose to be a policeman, not because my dad and mom told me so. I also thought at the time that policeman was a perfect fit for me. But when I did the job and find it unsuitable, I changed it, and here I am. Her light-hearted response was free from regrets. And she seems very happy with her decision now. She told me that she's still living very happily with her parents. You can see that her story and mine is different. Her decision and mine is not even the same. I'm still sticking to my parents' advice, but she has changed her mind and has her own path. You may have to make your own decisions sometimes. You can either stick to my parents' advice like I did, or you can either change your mind like her and have your own path. Those are really not that important because they are all your decisions, isn't it? But what truly matters here is the course of action that you take afterwards. And just say all the decisions that you have made turn out not as glamorous as you thought it would be. I hope that you would not be too harsh on yourself and you would stop putting the blame on your parents. I really love a saying of a British woman. She said, "There's an expiry date on blaming our parents for steering us in the wrong direction. Once you're old enough behind the wheel, we are all responsible for our actions." It's very easy and convenient to put the blame on someone, especially our loved one, when something goes wrong. But as harsh as it may sound, there is no alternative way to becoming mature than facing all the consequences and remedying it yourself. My parents and I'm very lucky to have them all by my side. I know that they are very trustworthy, reliable mentors, but you have to accept a fact that they are not future foretellers. Like us, they just don't even know what the future is holding, and they don't even know what is going to happen to us. Sometimes they can give us advice, but there are also times when there are nothing they can do but be onlookers and watch us grow. So the key lies in your hands. What you can really do is to be mentally and physically prepared for all the eventualities that may come. Just update your knowledge and learn whatever you find interesting and helpful for your future. But don't work too late into the night as well. Because if you play down on the importance of your health and you lack vibrant energy, then you will not have enough motivation to persist in the long run. About my family, we are now here and we still have a very happy life together. I have been opening up to them more, and about them, they have been more gentle in the way they deliver the message to me. But I'm still fully aware that getting into university is only a first step, a fresh start for me and for my family. But I know that the path to find your true self is still very long, far, and wide. There may also times when you are lost, confused, even disheartened at all the stumbling rocks and hurdles along the way. But I just hope that you remember this, that you are never, ever alone in that journey. You will always have your parents who will always get your back, lend you a hand and a hug whenever you need it. Thank you very much.